Okay, Richard, we were going to talk about making sense of the Fife Property Market's £166 per square foot value, but more importantly, the inflation figures out the day. But did you realise it's almost taken 7 months on average to sell a house in the St Andrews area? And I'm not
Wow.
kidding, about 7 months on average to sell a house in St Andrews area. We're going to talk about this more. QVT. Okay, so here we are. I mean, that's a starting revelation. So let me explain about this a bit more to people that don't understand this. It has taken quite a while in some of the regions of Fife. Fife in general takes about, just over 2 months to sell on average. But I was gobsmacked when I looked at the numbers and drilled down into the micro regions and then realised that we're approaching almost 7 months to sell a house in St Andrews. So let me explain and go through this methodically so you understand this. Let me get the graph up for this.
Yeah.
Is the sales for April 2021 to March 2022. Now, you'll be wondering, what on earth has that got to do with anything? This is to give you an insight into showing you exactly the numbers and where I'm getting my analytics from. This is according to Rightmove. In other words, across Fife in each region, this is what was instructed in that time and listed with all the estate agents. This was actually sold with all the estate agents from April 2021 to March 2022. So that's a year, really. So we've got that one so far as our analytics. And then we go into the next year, which is 2022 itself entirety, the whole of 2022. Again, I've got the same numbers for 2022 right across in the micro regions. You can see that if you jump from place to place. Look at that, 6,000 listed in 2021, 6,600 in 2022. So there's more stock coming on, as the year goes on. But you've got 5,476 selling in 2021. But look, 5,230 selling in 2022.
Yeah.
So you can see there's more stock coming on, but there's less properties selling. So let me bear with you, because I'll give you a summary at the end here for anybody tuning in on that. This is a starting revelation about St Andrews, definitely. 7 months almost to sell a property. So we're going to 2023 and we drill down into that. We've got in the micro regions again, we've got all the analytics about all the properties sold by micro region, by Cooper, East Neuk, St Andrews, and all the rest of it. And then everything being sold, listed and sold, and that gives you a good idea of what's getting sold as well. And then we go into 2024, the first part, the first quarter, which is January to April, first quarter of 2024. Actually, first. It's no quarter, is it? Because it's a 4-month period, so there's only three. The first third, rather than quarter, of 2024. So here we are here, and we've got the analytics for the number sold and the number instructed as well in these regions. Now, this is the starting revelation when you put this into the table. This is it here on average. If anybody could drill down on that, here we go. Look. So this is what's been sold each year on average every month in each area. So in other words, in 2021, on average, 31 properties sold every single month in the Cooper area. 17 properties sold every single month in the East Neuk area. St Andrews area was 24, Leedmouth was 37, Dunfermline was 190. You can see the KY region postcode, so we know it's all relevant to each one. Glenoffice, KY6, KY7, 46 properties sold every single month on average in 2021 and 90 in 2021 for the Kirkcaldy area as well.
Yeah.
So then it did exactly the same for 2022. And there's the numbers there, 39, 18, 25, 41, 147, 49, and 137. So in other words, in Cooper area, for example, in 2021, 31 properties sold on average. 2022, 39 properties were selling on average every month. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah.
So you can see it's quite stable all the way through, except for this one, Kirkcaldy. All of a sudden, 90 sold every month. Then 137 sold every month. That's a bit of a misnomer, because it drops down again to 78 to the following year. See that? 36, 17, 25, See how it's all consistent all the way through. So we know for a fact, and you get 2024, 36, 21, 19, 41, 27, 223. So if you then move along a wee bit, bear with me because I need to zoom in on this, then you'll start to realise there's the average for each area. See the average right along, 31, 39, 36, 36. So it's 36 on average over since 2021 sold in the Cooper area. Every single year. I'll zoom out just a wee bit so you can see that.
So you can see
So
the
you can
trends,
see that there. So the Cooper area, 36 on average sold every single year since 2021, 18 in the East Neuk area, which is fine, 17, 18, 17, 21, consistent every single year, every single month, exact same, 18 every single month. St Andrews, 23 every single month, Leadenmouth, 39, 186 every single month in Dunfermline area, 50 every single month in the Cooper area. So again, consistent, look, 46, 49, 45, 58. So year on year, every single month, that's the average that we see. As well, exactly the same. So we can say with almost certainty that every single month, for example, in the Leadenmouth area, every single month come hell or high water, because of the numbers over the year, 40 properties are almost going to get sold every single month as a result of that. Round about 40, 39, 40. We can say with consistency and definite confirmation and guarantee that probably every single month in the Glenrothes area, KY6 and KY7, 50 properties will be sold every single month on average. So in other words, that is the number of people buying in every area, and that does not change month by month every single year since 2021. Now, this is the interesting point when I talk about St Andrews taking 7 months to sell. See there, this is the amount of stock available for sale right now. 85 in Cooper, 83 in East Neuk available. So you can go on and look right now, KY9, KY10, East Neuk on, if you do available properties on Rightmove, there's 83 properties available to buy. St Andrews, 159, Leadenmouth, 95, Dunfermline, 346, Glenrothes, 130, Kirkcaldy, 243. On average, across Fife, 1,141 properties available to buy.
Now, see that you say that is that 150, 159 in St Andrews available for sale at the moment. That's quite a high number. Is there new builds in that, and is that what maybe pushing that up?
For sold, it's not. It's available for sale right now. It does include some of the new builds. Now, here we go. Now, watch the numbers. Watch when I zoom out a bit, and I take that and I zoom out. Look at that. There's the average time to sell. So Cooper, just over 2 months, 2.4 months. East Neuk, it will take 4.5 months to sell. Now, this is the 83 properties available divided by the average number of buyers every month. So in other words, if there's 18 people that buy every single month, there's 83 properties on the market. It's going to take 4.5 months to get rid of these 83 properties with consistently 18 people buying. That's why it takes on average 4.5 months to sell in East Neuk. Cooper's 2.4, as I said, months. Look at St Andrews. 159 properties available. There's only 23 people buying in St Andrews every single month since 2021. It's consistent all the time. That's just under 7 months to sell in St Andrews.
It's quite high.
Holy shit. That's all I could say, Richard. Oh my God.
I didn't know what to say that, but yeah, that's quite high.
I had no idea. This huge amount of property, and I'll go into the next graph after that, and I'll show you what's happened there and why that has happened. Because everybody thinks in the St Andrews area their property is going to fly off the shelf, and yet it takes 7 months to get rid of the existing stock. So what's the chances of your property flying off the shelf when you bring it on? Slim to none at this point in time. Slim to none. And look at when it comes to Leadenmouth, 2.4 months. Dunfermline, 1.87 months. Glenrothes, 2.63 months. Kirkcaldy, 2.4 months. Total on average is taking 2.5 months to sell a property across Fife. But you can see where the hit is. It's in East Neuk and it's in St Andrews. Now, we could easily talk about this and say, is it the price point? Because East Neuk and St Andrews are a lot higher.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, and you pointed out there, Jim, when you started off looking back at 2021, and people might think, well, why are you going all the way back? Why is that relevant? But it just shows you there, looking at these numbers year on year and looking at the trend throughout the years and how it gives you these figures, it gives you a clear picture of how the market is performing and how it will continue to perform based on the figures year on year. But then it allows you to get to this point where it allows you to then ask questions and brings these questions into your mind where, well, what is causing this? What's causing this extended time for people to buy in St Andrews? Is it price point? Is it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you what's causing it. I've done another graph as if by magic, as usual. Okay, so here we go. So this is the number sold, and this tells us straight away how long it'll take to sell in each region, on average. Now, this can't be disputed. This is fact, people. So don't give me your trolls, and don't give me your what ifs and what buts. This is fact, right in front of you here. This is Rightmove's numbers, all the properties listed versus all the properties sold in these regions. Consistently the same numbers for the last since 2021, since the beginning of 2021, basically. When we go on to the number of properties listed, this is a real eye opener here. Here they are right here. Look at 2021, 39, 18, 31, 41, 68, 53 every month, and 146, 506 every single month. Look at 2022, kind of a similar pattern. Look at 2023. How it's got, look at 2023, how the overall has actually, the number of properties listed in 2023 was significantly less. Look how it's jumped up, 536 at the beginning of the year every month. So when you look at that and look at the 536, it's jumped up from year on year, 486 minus 536, right across Fife. There's been 50 properties every single month since the beginning of the year actually listed more. Which tells me, if I multiply that by 12, we've got an oversupply coming into the market at 600 properties in the year. If that's the case. On top of the 1,100, it's there. We've got that to come. So now, when you look at and drill down into the regions, you then begin to realise, look at Cooper, how it's consistent, and the average is 39. Then look at when you're in East Neuk, same amount of listed, and then it goes up a bit. See that? Another 4 every single month listed.
20 to 24,
Yeah. So the 4 every single month is listed, and look, since compared to 2021, you've got 6 listed every single month. Now that's a lot more coming into the East Neuk area. I mean, you don't think 6 is a lot, but if you multiply it by that, it's 72.
Yeah.
And then if you look how many properties are sold in East Neuk in total every year, 72 in comparison to, look at this here, East Neuk, 205. So if you look at about another 72 coming in and divide it by 205, you're literally introducing another 30%, 35% of properties in oversupply into the East Neuk area. When you look at that number and compare it, see 217 for East Neuk sold. So when you're looking at that, 6 doesn't seem much, but when it starts to eat into the numbers, you can see why East Neuk takes longer then, because there's significantly 35% more properties coming into the market. Look at St Andrews though. St Andrews is a wee bit of an eye-opener when you look at that, 30 to 41. Another 11 properties on average every single month. That's 132. Now look how many properties are sold every year. Look at that, St Andrews, 302. Divide 132 by 302. Another 44% more supply into the St Andrews area available for sale. But see there, how the numbers sold are consistent every single month, though, in St Andrews.
Yeah.
See if you drill down, you look at St Andrews, 24, 25, 24, 25, 25, 19. So see how that's even dropped as well. So there's more properties come on. There's 44% more properties come on in St Andrews. And when you look at the numbers year on year to what's been sold now as to what's been sold last year, that's 6 times 72. That's another 72 every single year. And then you compare that to number of properties listed in St Andrews, 302. So 72 divided by 302 is another 24% less properties being sold in St Andrews.
Which is quite a fair drop, yeah.
So 44% more in St Andrews, 23% less getting sold. So see how that's a knock-on effect on both sides, and that compounds up to a higher rate. And that's why St Andrews is going to take on average seven months to sell in that area to get rid of all the stock with what's currently happening now. These are
which is a fair
facts.
amount. It's a fair amount of time. And obviously, the figures do obviously support that. I'm looking at the comments here, Jim, and thanks everybody for jumping in. Something Stephen said in the comments there, and he's saying like for like it should be 2019, 2022 versus 2022. But do you think maybe the pandemic causing people to panic buy and pay over the odds for properties and things have had an effect on this leading up to 2022?
Yeah. Now here is the point. Here is my point. You can compare it to before the pandemic and all the rest of it, but the numbers are still fine. The numbers still do not lie. It's showing you what's exactly happened from the boom market that we're in the now and where we are coming there. This is like coming onto the motorway and then you're rocketing down the motorway 80 miles an hour, and that's compared to 2021, 22. And then you're coming into 2023, which is the middle of the motorway. And then all of a sudden, when you get into 2024, which is a bit of the motorway, it's suddenly congested and jammed. And there's a huge amount of cars on the motorway now. Now, at some point in the future, what's going to happen is like the motorway, you're going to get to the end of this congestion, and then you're going to come out and go, what was all that about?
What caused all that? Yeah.
There was what was that? And what had happened was it was the oversupply of cars that caused the congestion. And that's why it's the oversupply of stock right now. It's causing the problem with the fact that it's going to take longer to sell in St Andrews because, as well, there's less people. But there's a third, according to Zoopla's numbers, a third of that is down to the fact that property prices have increased. 2/3 of that is down to the fact that from 2021 to now, mortgage rates have increased by 60%, the affordability level. So mortgage rates has gone up by 60% since 2021, according to Zoopla, and that accounts for 2/3 of that problem. And a third of that problem is accounted for the fact that property prices have gone up as well. And that's compounded to the end. That's why it's taken so long to sell in St Andrews now. I'm afraid to be the bearer of bad news for the St Andrews people in the KY16 area. It's KY16, so it's Balmullo, it's Lookers, it's Garbridge, it's Strathkinnis, it's St Andrews itself, and then further, anything that drops into the KY16 area, that's what these numbers are based on. So it tells you straight away it's down to affordability, and it's all down to all these different things. Now, the great news is, I think let me just cover this now. So there's hope on the horizon. Inflation's been announced today and dropped to 2.3%. Now, everybody was expecting 2.7. So it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts to that. However, 2.3% is almost right on the 2%. So now we can say with almost certainty that there probably is going to be a base rate drop next month. Maybe even this month. I don't know when it's due. It might be due on tomorrow, actually. They've maybe decided already, though. So it might be possible that a base rate might be now or following next month a rate reduction. However, there's a couple of things on the horizon we have to be aware of. Wage inflation is still at 6%. Now, this is when most people go, wait a minute, I'm not getting 6%. but that's the statistics. That's the Office of National Statistics information. Wage inflation is sitting at 6% year on year. So you cannot have wage inflation at 6% and then inflation at 2.3%, because where's the almost 4% disappearing?
Where's that extra coming from? Yeah,
it's disappearing into base rates, mortgage rates.
Right.
Because inflation does not take into account mortgage rates anymore. They took it out because it was basically pointing out the fact that interest rates were too high. So the government, take that out of the calculation. That was many years ago, to make it like for like. So inflation, so base rates are actually is that extra that people are getting, and they're just putting it to their mortgage. So if that comes down, it could kick inflation off again.
Right.
Unemployment's at 4.3%, which is still at a record low. Full employment, in terms of, if you read Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations and you read the economics books, full employment in an economy is generally between 4 and 6%, because it's expected that the 4.3% that are unemployed are the people that are actually reskilling or moving on to another job as a result. It's not people just sit and do nothing. That's what that's
Yeah.
that's what that 4.3% is. So they'll reskill for another industry, and as a result, it'll still be 4.3% because that always happens. It's a natural cyclical turnover. It's never going to be zero. And you never want zero, because then that means you've not got anybody available for any jobs when they come available. And that's why that's important. So whether base rates will come down because they'll be concerned about that will be a different story. But here's the other thing as well. How on earth did everybody predict it should drop to 2.7, then all of a sudden it dropped to 2.3? That is the worry, because inflation is like a cruise ship when it leaves the dock. It builds up momentum as it drops. Same thing, builds up speed and builds up momentum. So when you come to stop to go into the harbour or into the port when you've got a cruise ship, you've got to stop about a third away from the destination you're about to land at. Miles away before you start to slow down. And my thought process is inflation going to overshoot because of this? Which it might then encourage them to make a decision sooner rather than later on base rates coming down, which would be good for the market overall, because affordability would get back into the market. Therefore, possibly more people would then buy as a result of that, and therefore these numbers will start to stabilize again, especially in the East Nuke and the St Andrews area.
And you're saying this could even happen the tail end of this month, maybe not even next month?
Possibly. It depends when the announcement's getting made. I'm sure it's tomorrow. I'm convinced it's maybe tomorrow. It's typically tomorrow it happens, or it's maybe been last week. I'm not really sure, but it'll probably definitely be something about next month, because even the Deputy Bank of England governor, the Deputy Governor of the Bank of England, actually said that we could probably see if everything goes according to plan, we could probably see a base rate reduction in June and also in August. So they're thinking about maybe a couple of base rate reductions, which means probably a quarter point, which means base rates will probably go down to about 4.75%, I think. But it'll be interesting to see what happens to inflation next month. If it continues to drop dramatically below the 2% level, which is where they want it to be. Now, let me explain why inflation shouldn't drop below 2%. Because therefore, what happens when inflation drops below 2% is prices actually get stabilized, but they actually sometimes come down even further, because then it overshoots and you end up getting stagflation. Stagflation is not good, because then basically what you're saying is your can of beans can't go up in price, or it isn't going up in price, but you're currently still paying people 6% as a wage more every single time. Margins are getting squeezed. Profits still have to be maintained for shareholders, for pension funds, remember, because they're all linked into these companies like Diageo and that. So if margins get squeezed, what is the first thing everybody goes for when they've got to cut costs?
Labour,
jobs, definitely.
jobs,
Downsize straight away. Who can we get rid of? Who can we repurpose? Who can we move on? That's what they start to do. So then that then has another knock-on effect to the property market, and the fact that there's more unemployment, there's less money available, there's less people buying as a natural result, potentially maybe repossessions, which are being stopped actually. The banks are being told that you're not allowed to do that. There's all these things are still in place from what happened in 2008 in terms of the credit crunch. So that's a real eye opener. So hopefully everybody's understood what's happening here. And what I would say to you, if you're in the St Andrews market or you're thinking about listing now, then by all means just go. Don't sit there and wait, because yours might be the house that everybody wants.
Yeah,
that's the key. There's maybe 159 properties available in the KY16 area, but who's to say yours isn't the one everybody else is waiting coming on? Because you've still got that number of buyers buying every single month that we've got here. You've still got these number of buyers every single month buying. I just showed you here, an average in the East Nuke area, 18, St Andrews area, 23. So every single month, in the St Andrews area, 23 people go on and buy a property in the St Andrews area. Yours might be one out of the 23 is the one that everybody wants. So don't let that stop you listing. What you need to do is just be prepared. It might take a bit longer than usual, rather than talking to your friends and everybody saying, I think it's going to sell next week.
Yeah.
It'll sell itself.
Funnily enough, I'm
So
meeting someone at Carbridge tomorrow that their property's on the market and it's not selling, and they're considering letting because it's been so long.
we get that through. We've had that in East Neuk as well, haven't we, recently?
Yeah,
We've had,
yeah,
now
had a
that's
lot
what
of
people do, because their expectations were based on the boom market, and they're expecting it to sell pretty quick. And if it doesn't sell pretty quick, it's maybe a monetary thing for them. So therefore, they're going to
yeah,
have to think about something else because they've committed on the principle that they thought it was going to sell quick.
yeah,
That's not the best position to be in at all. They genuinely thought it would sell quick. Everybody else told them it would sell quick. Everybody else was convinced it's a boom market. I don't know what statistics they're using, but I'm using all the facts.
yeah.
So I know it's not going to sell that quick, if that's the case, because it's there in black and white for me. It's it's the numbers. They don't lie. So it's clearly the numbers are there, the statistics are there, the information's there, the data's there to make the informed decision. So my recommendation is you go sooner rather than later to make sure you're in a position. If you don't plan to sell in 6 months and you know it's going to take 7 months to sell in St Andrews on average, put it on the market now. If somebody makes you an offer and says, I'm wanting it within 2 months, and you don't want to sell for 6 months' time, you just say, not just now. I'm not taking
Yeah.
your offer. Just say no. Because the
Yeah,
reality
and a
is,
lot. Yeah.
you weren't going to do anything until 7 months anyway.
But a lot of people have this mindset, whereas if they put it, oh, what if somebody makes me an offer? Well, what if they do?
What if they
You
do?
know, if
You
they're not
didn't
ready, if they're
accept
not
it.
ready.
You
Yeah,
just
I
say
know.
the circumstances are the right for your offer. You're not giving me a flexible entry date, so I can't find my next property, so I'm not going to sell it to you. End of
Yeah.
story. There's no an expectation because they make you an offer and you think that's a great offer. You've got to accept it. You just tell them no. If the rest of the circumstances, I mean, if somebody comes along and says, I want all your furniture, what do you say? Well, no, because I'm taking it with me.
Yeah.
So if you don't get the right entry date or somebody's not going to be flexible with it, you could say no again. Just say the same thing. But you're better to have certainty rather than actually guessing
Yeah.
or thinking it's like your pals tell you your house is going to sell, no bother because it looks great. That's not the answer. And plus the fact
No.
if you've committed to somewhere else and overstretched yourself, that could really put you under pressure. That's where you've got to watch. This is why you have to be. This is why I do this. This is why I'm talking about this right now, because there's people out there making decisions based on outdated information and speculation and other people's opinions that have no idea what they're talking about. They're opening their mouth and let their belly rumble half the time.
Yeah. And it's amazing how many people will action things, important decisions like selling your property, putting in the market, accepting offers and things on misinformation and people that are telling them things that are just word of mouth. To be honest, it's not based on facts or the
Yeah.
stats or what
So
we've
this
just
is
run
where
through.
this is where you have to come back to, Richard, where you have to get a skilled estate agent that knows what they're doing digital marketing, and you have to get an agent that's going to be able to sell your property to someone outside of this area. Someone that's maybe not even considered St Andrews, someone that's maybe not even considered East Neuk, someone that's not even considered any of the place that you're in right now, because that's how you get a bigger audience. And that's what you do. And that's really down to digital marketing strategy and then coming back to a strong negotiator at the end. And these are the
Do
two
you know
key
what?
criteria you should be looking for.
It's very true, and I know obviously I'm going to refer to lettings because obviously I do lettings predominantly more than obviously as opposed to the sales. But a property that I've got, and it's quite a unique property. It's in Peterborough area, and it's a couple of other agents have tried to let it without being any success. And I went in quite confidently because I knew the exposure, I knew who we would pick up, and I've had a couple come across to America, and they're now taking the property because they picked up on through our obviously our listing.
Our media channels, our
Yeah,
channels, our lead generation system.
yeah,
And this is what I talk about. It's like people think we all use the same thing. Why? I mean, this is the one I don't get, Richard.
yeah.
Why would you use Rightmove if everybody else's property is there to choose as well?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you use Rightmove? Oh, it's the biggest portal. Aye, but they've got a
You've got
choice
a
of
lot of
another
people.
158
Yeah.
properties in the St Andrews area. So why would you direct people to go to Rightmove to look at your property? Why do you think I make sure over 500,000 people come to our website from all these different areas in the world and even in
From
London,
overseas.
10,000 a
Yeah.
month? 5,000 a month from Edinburgh, because it's exclusivity. I'm not showing you anybody else's properties but the ones that we've got.
Yeah.
If I've got a tin of beans, I don't want to put it on the shelf next to Heinz. I don't want to put it on the shelf next to Newlands or Aldi's or Lidl's or anything like that. I didn't want to put it in a supermarket. I want you to come to me, and I want to do it skillfully and cleverly so I can retarget you to let me be the only kid on the block, and that property, for example, be the only kid on the block. The only one that you're seeing without anybody else seeing anybody else's properties. That's what I'm after. Hence the reason why I steal traffic from Zoopla, and I also steal traffic from Rightmove as well, and S1 Homes and all the rest of it. We still use all these different platforms, but we make sure we drive traffic to our website for that very reason. Exclusivity. You want somebody to see your property and no one else's. So if you're just relying on an agent that's got Rightmove, Prime Location, and Zoopla as their only strings to their bow, you're in trouble.
Yeah, especially when we're looking at these kinds of stats and this length of time. Like for example, the St Andrews area. You're looking at this length
even
of time.
An agent that says, "Oh, I'm in St Andrews," and it's like, "Oh, I'll list with you then." It's like, okay,
No.
just because you're in St Andrews, it doesn't mean to say you're going to have all the people driving traffic to you because you're in St Andrews. It's like people saying, "I'm going to list with an Edinburgh estate agent." I'm going to put mine on with an Edinburgh estate agent because I really want the Edinburgh market. Eh? But you've got a property in Fife. You've got a property in Fife.
Quite interesting is you say about obviously and obviously agencies maybe think because they've got an office in St Andrews or such, but then a lot of people coming into St Andrews are overseas. So how are you targeting overseas? And obviously we've just explained why people come to us overseas.
But this is the point. So why not have the office and spend all the money on target adverts to all the right people using the data that's provided by Meta and all these different other platforms and buying into that system?
Get yourself in front of the right audience.
Who does that? Hello? Why would you spend £100,000 on an office? Another office. It's like if you've got one already. And you put all that investment into making sure your customer's property gets in front of people that no one else can get in front of. That's where it is. It's not to put in your pocket, not to have the office to put the money in your pocket. It's to make sure you redirect your resources to the right thing. This is a clever thing. Somebody once said to me, 50% of your marketing budget is cost effective and it actually does the job. The problem is actually finding out the 50% it doesn't, because you don't know.
Yeah.
But you certainly do when you do it like that and understand the dynamics and understand who you should be retargeting. That is the whole point of it. It makes actually it's like night and day. So hopefully I've laboured that point. We've done that for half an hour, Richard. Let's just jump onto this article and we'll quickly, briefly skim through it. This is making sense of the Fife property market. It's £166 per square foot. I mean, Fife is actually a vibrant area and diverse property market. It offers countless opportunities for homeowners seeking their next home. However, navigating the landscape requires a strategic approach, for example, to avoid the common pitfalls. If you're a current Fife homeowner weighing up your options for a potential move, this show or the rest of the show will shed light on some of the key factors to actually consider. Now, it's really, we talked about the diverse landscape of the Fife property market and how Fife boasts an array of properties ranging in the age, the size, the style, which means there's something really for everyone. So home buyers prefer new built homes for convenience and low maintenance, while others opt for established homes. These older homes are often more space for your money and sometimes renovation potential as well. However, the diversity makes it crucial to look beyond the surface level data to understand the property's true value and other distinctions that impact the property's value overall, including location, layout, bedrooms, condition, and unique features. So a prime example is the disparity in price per square foot among properties across the town. I mean, currently average price for Fife is £166 per square foot, yet it only really tells half the story. I mean, the problem with the average is they hide the outliners and expectations. The outliers and expectations are the statistics and the numbers that go far beyond the average value and the group of statistics. Yeah, there's where the magic actually happens. Therefore, I suggest
Yeah.
that you look at the central 8% range instead of just the average overall. This, in essence, is the 80% cut of the statistics, the actual core itself, thus excluding the top and bottom of 10% either side, because it's really neither here nor there when you come to that.
Yeah.
You really want to look at where it all is happening, the majority, where it is, what makes the fundamental overall sense in the whole thing. The medium, I think they call it, the median. Yeah.
The
Okay.
median.
Yeah. So consequently, looking at the average, the central 80% for Fife, 80% of properties currently for sale in Fife are between £122 per square foot and £376 per square foot. No surprise that £376 is probably St Andrews.
I was just going to say that's probably the St Andrews area. Yeah.
And £122 is possibly Glenrothes are leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Broad range of highlights. So this broad range actually highlights the importance of not relying solely on the square footage averages when valuing actually your next home.
Yeah.
Another
So
example, I think. Another example, Richard, just to finish off here.
Yeah.
Another example, typically a 4-bedroom home is expected to be valued higher than a 3-bedroom home, which generally holds true. However, there is some overlap between the prices. I mean, in Fife, the average asking price for a 3-bedroom home is 219,000, compared to 345,000 for a 4-bedroom home. Sorry, how much? 120,000 more between a 3 and a 4-bedroom. That's weird, eh?
Yeah, that's quite a jump, yeah.
Yet everything is in order here as would be expected. Yet, when examining the central 80% range, the prices for a 3-bedroom home in Fife fall between 110,000 and 425,000.
Right.
Meanwhile, the central 80% range for the 4-bedroom homes is between 235 and 625. As you can see, there's quite an overlap. So what is it you need to know about finding the right balance, Richard? I mean, the practicality versus emotional connection.
Yeah, there is a lot really finding the balance, and like you say, between that practicality versus that emotional connection. And when considering your next Fife property, it's important to strike that balance between practical and the stuff that you can't measure with a statistic, i.e. the emotional appeal. On the practical side, you could create a list of essential features such as desired neighbourhoods, reception rooms, layouts, garden size, local amenities, to help you prioritise properties that meet your needs. For instance, proximity to good primary schools or secondary schools will be vital if you plan to start a family or already have children. Similarly, desirable features like south-facing patios and gardens, modern kitchens, and open floor plans can significantly impact your enjoyment of a home. Then on the practical side, evaluate the duration of your stay in the new property. Most homeowners of smaller to medium-sized Fife homes more over 5 or 6 years they will move. So it's convenient to have transport links and vibrant local community and proximity to shop and leisure and facilities, and this will all appeal to future buyers as well.
Yeah.
However, your personal or your emotional connection to a property should not be overlooked. The feeling that you get when you walk into a property through the door, the view from the kitchen window, the unique atmosphere, and each home influences long-term satisfaction and value as well. So that blend of rationality and emotional resonance with a property will ultimately guide you towards the decision that reflects your aspirations, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about recognising as well, though, the hidden costs and the potential returns. I mean, when moving into the new property, for example, it's an essential factor in the hidden costs, like the land and the land and buildings transaction tax. A lot of people just don't take that into account, especially ADS if they're trying to buy a buy-to-let or a second home. They're like, oh, I'd never realised there was a 6% surcharge on this. It's like, yeah, there is. And then often sometimes puts a lot of people off. And things like the legal fees, the surveys, the mortgage arrangement fees. You should be mindful of things like maintenance costs as well, renovation expenses and unexpected repairs that can arise, especially with the older properties, I suppose. Conversely, though, consider the potential returns if you invest in upgrades or improvements. A well thought out renovation, for example, could significantly increase the value and desirability of your home, providing excellent returns if you do decide to sell. However, I mean, assessing, I would think, the cost benefit ratio before embarking on a project is really pretty essential here, as overinvesting might not always yield a profitable return. Again, we could probably give you advice on that. So, message us direct on this post or contact us on the usual channels.
Yeah.
But you've got to ask the question, though, are you actually ready for the next move? Are people ready for the next move?
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be the question. Are you ready for your move? And I think although finding your ideal Fife property, it really does involve much more than just crunching the numbers. Although it's so important, your decision should really reflect a careful blend of, as I say, like the practicality and the emotional resonance with a home, and all while understanding the market conditions as well, like we just went through and we looked back, obviously, the last few years and how that trend is really important to understand that, or have an agent who understands that and can explain it to you. So if you're really considering a move and you would like an expert to go through that with you, obviously we've just demonstrated how we go through that and look at those trends. And if you wanted that advice, or obviously indeed on your property value of your current Fife property home, then don't hesitate to reach out to us and message us on here or contact one of the offices. I'm laughing. What's your smile for?
I was just thinking about expert. An X is a has been, and a spurt is a drip under pressure. I remember people saying to me that. It's like when people, I'm an expert. Okay, an X is a has been, and a spurt is a drip under pressure. Yeah. Okay. It's quite clear there, though, Richard. You're absolutely right. I mean, it is about assessing exactly. It doesn't really come down to price per square foot in that statistical sense when people actually go to buy a property. It's really down to the fact that does it actually tick all the boxes they're wanting, and does the numbers. And I think most people go immediately to the price point first, and then see what they can get for the value and what's available for them. And that's why Rightmove is a good tool for a lot of people, because then they go and say, that's what I can get for that price. And then they look down and they choose out of that price. But that's where you come a cropper if you're just solely relying on Rightmove, because then you're at the perils of everybody getting to choose from other people's properties at the same time. So an agent that solely relies on Rightmove, or maybe I was going to say solely relies on the market. It's like, sorry, who? But there is agents out there that actually don't use Zoopla now, and they say they use on the market instead. And it's like, really? Like, no one has any idea what that is. It's like, it's on its way out. It's just that's what it's like on the market. It's like we need more money to get bigger of it. We're gonna take Rightmove on. No, you're never going to take Rightmove on. Rightmove's here to stay, whether you like it or not. It is like the Just Eat of the estate agency world. People will go to it regardless, and we're no daft enough to say, we're not going to list on Rightmove. But if you can take traffic from Rightmove, and you can take a buyer off a Rightmove before they nearly get onto Rightmove, and you can use people's data that searches on other websites like Rightmove, and actually use them to retarget your advert in front of that person exclusively for your customer's property, why would you not use that type of system?
Yeah,
that's where the key is. That's where the key to your successful sale is. Don't buy into the fact that, yes, on average, it will take 7 months almost to sell a property in St Andrews, or it will take 4.5 months to sell a property in East Neuk. But then, lo and behold, look at Braehead. We sold Braehead 425,000, and it was away within 5 days.
Yeah.
And then we sold Blacklaw's Cottage at the back of Anstruther, and it's supposed to take 4.5 months. Blacklaw's Cottage, 625,000, sold for, well, I can't tell you what it sold for, but it was sold in a week.
Yeah.
for an astronomical number. And it's like, oh my God. So what does that tell me as potentially as a seller? If I was sitting looking at a seller and thinking, okay, on average it takes 4.5 months and they're selling 400 and 600,000 pound properties in my area within a week, astronomical, still astronomical figures, by the way. Can't tell you what they are, but it's like still astronomical figures, and no one else is getting these type of figures. I know who I'd be choosing to sell my property.
Yeah.
And it's not just because it's me. It's the fact that it's like it's staring you right in the face. It's like the analytics tell you and the results tell you, like, what is your benchmark over the home report value that you sell on average for this area? Well, it's 11%. Okay, what is your benchmark? Other estate agent? Well, we're 3%. Okay, I'll be going with 11% straight away. It's like that's a done deal. It's like if you're focused completely, because 11% more than 3% is £8,000 for every £100,000 of value of property. So if you've got a property at £400,000, by not choosing us, and I'll be blunt about that, you would effectively on average lose £32,000 in your end result of your sale price. Sorry? And then when people go, but you're a wee bit more money. How much? Oh, £1,000. Is that it? And on average, I could get 32,000 more. Hello. And you only get it if you sell it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If the person's selling it, you could say, I could charge you 5%. You could say to somebody, I'm going to charge you 5%. But if you're not selling your house, you're not getting anything anyway. The 5% is neither here nor there. That's what a lot of sellers do not understand. I think about 50% get it and 50% don't.
Yeah.
And we're not here to convince everybody anyway. We're only here to sell 200 to 300 houses a year, and that's all I'm wanting to do. I'm not interested in volume. I want to make sure we look after a customer from start to finish and look after them through the whole process and the journey itself to make it as less stress-free as possible than anyone else can do. And actually, it's a bit of an art form. I like to make sure I take attention to detail and produce something. To me, it is a work of art in comparison to what other people do. And that's why we digitize and put markers on drone footage, which no one else does. And then that's also why we do personal property tours and walkthroughs in this format as opposed to that format, because this gets more in the room. And as you pan round, it's like how you read as well. So it's no stressful. Whereas other people go up and down or they miss things out completely, side to side, up and down, all the rest of it, and wobbly all the way through. And it's like, I can't even see what I'm looking at. And what is that in the corner? Can somebody tell? Oh, no, sorry, I'm listening to the green sleeves in the background because I put silent music on what is effectively a silent movie. And that's what makes the fundamental difference, I think, in getting that property over the line. It's not going to happen for everybody, but I tell you what, when it happens spectacularly. That's what it comes down to. So your house isn't going to fly off the shelf. That's what I can say to people. For a lot of people out there, get used to the fact that this is a market now where your house isn't going to fly off the shelf. You're going to have a proper, a good quality, not a brand name. You don't necessarily need a brand name. You need somebody that's going to deliver the results that you need and can demonstrate they can deliver that by what they've done already for other people. Hence the reason why we go in for the ESTAs every single year. Because it's voted for by your existing customers, and it tells us straight away, Richard, that we're doing the right thing because we've got a 99% plus approval rating from our existing customers. I mean, 98 overall with the lettings division as well, 98.5 or something like that. And that's going to tell us something. 470 customers or more have actually voted for us to give us that rating. So that tells you straight away. I mean, that's about 2 or 3 years worth of customers voting for you. So that's, that can't be sniffed at and it can't be ignored in the fact that it's staring people right in the face. But again, as I say, some people just do not get it. So let's finish off there.
Yeah. I think what the important thing is, like you said, Jim, is think about your time scale and depending on what area you're in, and look at the stats that we just covered, be prepared for a certain amount of time to actually sell your property and don't expect to be selling it overnight. Do you know what I mean?
You could be fortunate enough you're not in Spain because it takes 2 years to sell a property.
Yeah.
Right, that's quite frightening. I got my eyes opened when they told me that. It's like, oh no, it takes 2 years on average to sell. What? Sorry, we're thinking about 2 months, and you've got 2 years. See how being informed by the right estate agents, you understand then the journey
Yeah.
you've got to take. Because when I asked, I just naturally thought, yeah, it's going to sell. It'll probably sell in a couple of months.
A couple of
And it's
months.
like,
Yeah.
and then they went, no, it takes on average 2 years. Oh my God, I better get something done now then if I'm going to do anything, which I'm not. But it was quite interesting because upstairs, she wanted me to do a video walkthrough. This is Spain. This lady actually saw me from Spain and my upstairs neighbour, and she said to me, I don't know how she managed to see my videos, but she says to me, can you do a walkthrough video for me? For the
To
UK
go on a
market.
Spanish list.
For the UK market, honestly. She wanted to be on Rightmove, but she wanted me to do a walkthrough video for her to be on the market with her Spanish property on the overseas bit of Rightmove. What does that say? Have you got people from overseas wanting you? Maybe another branch. Tax deduction. I need a holiday paid for by the company. Oh, there's people wanting to list property in Spain. I have to go and do videos. Anyway, that's another story. Okay, thanks for coming on, Richard. Really appreciate that. Real eye opener. Sorry to anybody out there. We're diverted from the actual main show itself, but I think it's important if you watch at the beginning here how important it is to understand where you are right now and what region you're in. For example, Cooper, East Neuk, St Andrews, Leavenmouth, and that, and understand where your market is right now and how many people on average are actually buying every single month, because it's consistent for the last 4 years. And so that tells us everything. So if you think that your house is going to sell quickly, maybe just have to think again and you go sooner rather than later. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Richard. And for everybody else, if you need more information and you're watching the rerun, please feel free to message us direct on this post. Okay. Bye-bye for now.